For thousands of Uber and Lyft drivers, every day begins with a sense of uncertainty. These workers depend on their apps to find passengers and earn a living, but that connection can be severed in an instant. This sudden termination is called deactivation. It means a driver's account is shut down, effectively firing them without warning. One moment they are online, accepting rides and earning money for their families, and the next they are locked out, with their primary source of income completely gone. This is not a rare occurrence. It is a constant threat that looms over every gig worker who gets behind the wheel. The process of deactivation often feels cold and automated. Drivers might receive a vague email or an in-app notification telling them their account is under review or has been permanently closed. The reasons given are often unclear, citing a violation of community guidelines or a safety issue without providing any specific details about the alleged incident. This leaves drivers in a state of confusion and panic. They have no one to talk to, no human resources department to consult, and no immediate way to understand what went wrong or how to fix it. The sudden loss of work creates immense financial and emotional stress for these individuals and their families. Imagine being the sole provider for your household and waking up to find you can no longer work. This is the reality for many deactivated drivers. They have car payments, rent, insurance bills, and groceries to buy, all of which depend on the income they make from driving. When that income disappears overnight, they are thrown into a financial crisis. They must scramble to find other work, which is not always easy, while also trying to navigate the confusing and often unresponsive appeals process that the rideshare companies offer. The feeling of helplessness is overwhelming, as their livelihood is controlled by an algorithm and a distant corporate entity. This precarious situation highlights a major flaw in the gig economy model. Drivers are classified as independent contractors, which means they lack the basic protections that traditional employees have, such as job security, unemployment benefits, and a fair dismissal process. Companies like Uber and Lyft can terminate their access to the platform at will, based on systems that seem to prioritize customer complaints over driver fairness. A single false accusation from a passenger can be enough to end a driver's career, even if they have a long history of excellent service and high ratings. This power imbalance leaves drivers vulnerable and exposed to unfair treatment. The reasons behind deactivations are often rooted in a system that heavily favors the passenger. A driver can be suspended or permanently removed based on a single complaint, which the company may not properly investigate. For example, a passenger might falsely claim a driver was rude, drove unsafely, or was under the influence simply to get a free ride. Without a fair and transparent investigation that considers the driver's side of the story, the company often deactivates the driver as a precaution. This one-sided process treats drivers as guilty until proven innocent, a standard that makes their job incredibly insecure and stressful every single day. One powerful example of this injustice is the story of Blaram Scoro, a top-rated diamond driver in New York City with nearly a decade of experience. He was deactivated by Uber after an intoxicated passenger made a false complaint against him. Mr. Scoro had dashcam footage that clearly proved his innocence, showing the passenger's disruptive behavior. Despite presenting this concrete evidence, Uber denied his appeal, and he was left without work for 2 long months. His case shows that even a perfect record and undeniable proof may not be enough to protect a driver from an arbitrary and unfair decision made by the company's internal review system. The financial consequences of these practices are staggering. In New York City alone, it is estimated that wrongful deactivations cost drivers over $1 billion per year as of 2024. This massive figure is not just about lost wages. Some believe it is a deliberate strategy. By deactivating drivers, companies can manipulate the utilization rate, which is the amount of time drivers spend with a passenger in the car. Under NYC law, this rate helps determine the minimum pay drivers receive. By keeping the supply of drivers tight through deactivations, companies can potentially lower their overall payout obligations, saving money at the direct expense of the workers who power their business. This system creates a cycle of fear and financial instability. Drivers are constantly worried that any interaction could be their last. A difficult passenger, a misunderstanding about the route, or a simple low rating could trigger a deactivation that upends their life. The companies maintain that these policies are in place for safety, but for many drivers, it feels like a punitive system that lacks a human touch. The immense financial losses and the emotional toll of being treated as disposable have pushed drivers to question the fairness of the entire gig work model and demand fundamental changes to protect their rights and their livelihoods. In response to this growing crisis, drivers and their advocates are organizing to demand change. They are no longer willing to accept their precarious situation and are fighting back on multiple fronts. In New York City, a major battleground for driver rights, Councilmember Shekhar Krishnan introduced a groundbreaking bill in February 2024. This proposed legislation aims to provide real job security for the city's 200,000 rideshare drivers by prohibiting companies from deactivating them without just cause. This would mean that Uber and Lyft could no longer fire a driver based on a single, unverified complaint or for arbitrary reasons. The proposed law includes several critical protections for drivers. It would require companies to give a 14-day notice before most deactivations, giving the worker time to prepare and respond. Furthermore, the companies would be mandated to provide the driver with all the evidence being used against them. Perhaps most importantly, the bill would allow drivers to challenge a deactivation through an independent body, a court or a city agency, rather than being forced to use the company's biased internal appeals process. It even includes a provision for back pay for drivers who were wrongfully deactivated in the past 6 years, offering a chance at justice. This legislative effort is strongly supported by groups like the New York Taxi Workers Alliance, which has been a vocal advocate for driver rights. The alliance has highlighted the widespread and unjust nature of deactivations, arguing that they are a tool used by companies to control the workforce and suppress wages. Drivers themselves have also formed powerful support networks. One such community is a chat group with over 800 members, where drivers share their stories of wrongful deactivation, offer advice, and provide emotional support to one another. This solidarity shows that drivers are united in their fight for dignity and fair treatment. Naturally, the rideshare companies have responded to these efforts. Lyft has stated that it has worked to improve its deactivation process, while Uber has remained quieter on specific cases, but has made significant political contributions to city officials. This highlights the difficult road ahead for advocates, as they are not just fighting for a change in policy, but are also up against the immense financial and political power of these multi-billion-dollar corporations. Despite these challenges, the growing movement for just cause protections represents a significant step forward in the fight for gig worker rights and a fairer industry for all. When a driver is unfairly deactivated, their first and often only option is to navigate the company's internal appeals process. This usually involves submitting a written explanation or evidence, such as dashcam footage, through the app or a web portal. However, as many drivers have discovered, this process can feel like sending a message into a void. Responses are often automated, slow to arrive, and rarely provide a clear reason for the final decision. Many drivers find their appeals are denied without a meaningful review of their evidence, leaving them feeling frustrated and defeated by a system that seems designed to be impenetrable. Given the difficulties of dealing directly with Uber and Lyft, some drivers are turning to outside help. Professional services have emerged to assist workers in this fight. One notable company is Apex Deft, which specializes in helping drivers get their accounts reactivated. These experts understand the complex internal policies of the rideshare companies and know how to craft effective appeals that have a higher chance of success. By presenting the case professionally and persistently, they can often cut through the red tape and get a human reviewer to properly consider the driver's evidence, offering a lifeline to those who have been unjustly kicked off the platform. If you are a driver who has been deactivated, it is important not to give up. The first step is to carefully review the reason given for your deactivation, if any was provided. Immediately gather any evidence you have that proves your innocence, especially dashcam recordings, screenshots of your ride history, and your driver rating. When you file your appeal, be calm, professional, and stick to the facts. If your initial appeal is denied, consider seeking assistance from a driver's advocacy group like the New York Taxi Workers Alliance or a professional service like Apex Def to help you fight the decision. The future of driver rights is being shaped right now in city councils and through the collective action of workers. The push for just cause legislation in places like New York City offers a beacon of hope. If passed, such laws would create a new standard of fairness, ensuring that no driver can be fired without a valid reason and a fair process. This would transform the industry, providing the job security and respect that all workers deserve. The fight is far from over, but with growing solidarity and new legal protections on the horizon, drivers have more power than ever to demand a better, more just future.